Octagon 24/7's podcast, MMA Fancast. It's MMA for the fans, by the fans. We talk about only the important things you want to hear.
Hey, this is Mike Goldberg, the voice of Bellator MMA on Spike. Join us right now for MMA Fancast.
It's another day off the heels of Mayweather and McGregor. We are back with episode 40 of MMA Fancast. Thank you for joining us. My name is Ryan Middleton. I am your host, and I am joined by a young man who has been impressing many, many folks in the sticks of West Virginia with his beard. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Dice Bailey.
Thank you for appreciating my beard. That's all I strive for in life. It's good to be back again.
We are really impressed with your, first of all, I think the audience is really impressed that there is internet in West Virginia. And, they've been just thoroughly, it amuses everyone that, we didn't even know there was that. So we're all impressed.
Yeah, we're getting internet on our phones now too. We can send pictures to each other. It's crazy.
You mean on your rotaries?
Yeah, on our rotaries. That's what we have.
Yeah, exactly. So we are back, and I'll tell you, it doesn't need much of an introduction to know that on the day after the money fight, that we were going to be talking at length and in depth about the money fight. And as a matter of fact, prior to the money fight, there was a pretty amazing article breaking down what's going to happen with Mayweather, McGregor, what ifs, and all those scenarios on Octagon247.com. An article written by this man you're looking at, Andrew Dice Bailey.
Not bad for a typewriter, right?
You mean they're already on to typewriters?
We're catching on quick. I'm telling you.
Wow.
We're Silicon Valley aside, this is the real hub of technology.
One of my favorite jokes growing up, you probably heard it, I'm sure. We think it's a joke, but it's actually the truth. It's not really a joke. Do you know why the toothbrush was invented in West Virginia?
Why?
Because if it was invented anywhere else, it'd be called the teeth brush. See? See where it went there?
Yeah. I'm picking up what you're laying down.
So, and my other favorite stupid joke, I got to get just a stupid joke in here, is why did the chicken cross the road?
Why?
To get to the idiot's house. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
The chicken.
Go away. I just knew it was I knew it was going there. I'm like, I don't want to answer.
All right. So we had a Mayweather McGregor, and we knew it was going to be a spectacle. We knew it was going to be something for the ages from a pop culture perspective, that people were going to be watching that normally don't watch MMA, that normally don't watch boxing, that it was going to grab a bunch of people and, in essence, make them experts at both sports. But it would also, be something that would be a part of our nation and something that everyone is going to be talking about around the coolers on Monday, today for you if you're listening on Monday. So, what were your initial reactions? What were your thoughts with the fight?
My initial reactions were, I was really impressed that a fighter, a novice, can come in there and fight 10 rounds and actually land some punches the way he did. And it's I mean, we've followed McGregor his entire career, but just the way he moves his head is just amazing. The way he slips punches, and the fact that he was doing that to Floyd Mayweather is amazing. I had him going into, if that 10th round had ended, I would have had Floyd Mayweather up 1 point on the cards. I had Conor up 5-4 through 9. That 10th was about to be a 10-8, and then that would have had Floyd ahead. And I think he was going to go to victory if it went to the cards. But some of the judges' cards, did you see their scores?
Yeah, the judges' scores were pretty crazy.
One had Floyd winning every round except for one, and it was a draw. I'm like, are we watching the same fight? And
yeah, that was complete insanity. He easily won the first three. The first three shouldn't have been the question. They were all 10-9 rounds, and so he should have had three rounds up. Now, the rest from there on out, round 4, I think, was the most controversial round.
That was close. I gave 4 to Mayweather.
Okay, I think most of the people I was watching it with about 10 guys at my house. I think most people felt that barely gave the edge to McGregor.
Yeah.
But I didn't have McGregor winning another round.
See, I had 1, 2, and 3, 5, and 7, and then that was it.
Well, I had round 9 a 10-8.
Okay.
Because he was. I mean, that could have ended there. And actually, it was supposed to, because my prediction was Mayweather in round 9, but he decided to let it go. I mean, honestly, if he pours it on in round 9, it's over.
Yeah, I was interested why he was kind of guarded. I didn't know if he was afraid he just couldn't get the damage he wanted, or why he just pulled back from that flurry. So that was interesting.
So here's my question. If McGregor can go 12 rounds the way he fought the first couple, what does that fight look like? I mean, so essentially what I felt was happening was Mayweather was simply buying his time until Conor slowed down.
Yeah, he stayed in the Philly shell and just let him punch himself out.
Which is there's nothing wrong with that. And if you're a better boxer, should you need to do that?
That's an interesting point.
If he's a better boxer, so essentially, let's just assume Conor McGregor doesn't punch himself out and he's able to keep that same pace for 12 rounds, at some point Mayweather says, wow, he's not slowing down, I have to actually fight. So when does that happen? And 2, what happens when they are both trying to win each round?
That would have been that. I mean, that's what I was hoping to see in the later rounds. But I think Floyd was waiting till 6. He was getting through 6, and then every round after that, he was just gauging the meter, just seeing where it was. You know, it was really interesting to watch him just kind of slowly become more and more offensive. And then, just like you said, by 9, he knew it at that point. And then 10, he poured it on. But it would have been very interesting. I don't think no matter what he did, I mean, what McGregor did, I don't think he was going to win on the scorecards in Las Vegas in a boxing match. I saw traditional boxing writers, some of them, that said McGregor's out here throwing just pathetic punches in the first round. Like Dave Raphael, senior writer ESPN, called his punches just pathetic. I'm like, that is highly inaccurate just because they're unorthodox to call them pathetic.
Well, and this is a guy that he's championing for his sport and thinks that he has to discredit. I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd.
Absolutely.
And I mean, he landed more punches. I mean, I have numbers.
111.
I have numbers to compare what he did. I think. Where did I put that? Okay. McGregor landed more punches than Cotto, Mosley, Berta, Pacquiao, Marquez, and Hatton. And all of those were decisions except for Hatton. Hatton ended in the 10th. Mm-hmm. So McGregor landed more punches than all of those guys.
Yeah, he landed 111, which ranks 6th all-time against Floyd. And 2nd all-time is Maidana with like 129 or 128 off the top of my head. So he was, just under 20 punches away in 2 less rounds from being the second most from hitting Floyd as the second most of anybody who's ever done it. And that was in 10 rounds.
Yeah. And this is without having a particular expertise in boxing.
Yeah, this is he has a good amateur background, but he trained hard for boxing for 3 months and fought the greatest defensive fighter of all time and hit him 111 times. I think everywhere else I saw outside of the pretentious boxing circles, everyone was just congratulating him like, wow, that was really impressive that you went toe-to-toe with him and just, I mean, did not get embarrassed at all by any means. I mean, considering the person he's fighting. And I think it was a win for MMA. I think he made MMA look really good today or yesterday.
Yeah, from what I understand, everyone was able to watch the main event, but there were some serious issues during the prelims.
Yeah, I heard they were slowing things down due to all the outages in California and Texas or somewhere.
Well, what medium were you watching it on?
Like TV?
You watched it on cable, through cable?
Yeah.
Okay, so did I. Jim Mooney ordered it on UFC Fight or UFC.tv, like on the whatever it's called, on their Apple TV app, and he missed the first 49 minutes of the pay-per-view.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean no one was really watching those matches. It didn't really matter, but it was a scare. Like, wait a second, am I going to get this?
Wasn't it weird watching a pay-per-view and not caring about anything except the main event?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's boxing life, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's the boxing purists that care about multiple fights on the card, but, I mean, most MMA fans care about the whole main card.
Exactly.
Or at least like the top 3 fights. And normally the way Dana sets it up, like the first fight's a really good barn burner, a good fight too. And then they have a good fight to lead off of the prelims. So, I mean, the UFC's set up in a way to really grab people.
Yeah, it's set up much better. It was just weird to me sitting there. I was talking to my friends, and I was just thinking, I really don't care about Gervonta Davis, some guy who can't make weight, fighting right now. Like, this does not interest me at all. And what did you think about Floyd Mayweather turning his back constantly?
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about.
That was
why was he
bizarre.
Doing that? I want to watch it. I taped it. I want to watch it again, and as it's happening, you're not like, how did he turn his back? Like, what was the circumstance that happened? But honestly, if I was McGregor, I would have done everything I could to just drill him as many times as possible in the ribs, in the kidney, like from the side, just unload on him until I got stopped, because you deserve to get, I mean, if you're turning your back on someone, you deserve to get pummeled.
Yeah, most officials will stop you before you can do anything. But when he fought Jose Luis Castillo, he did the same thing to him, but the ref didn't step in. So Castillo just unloads like 3 shots right at the kidneys and comes back around. And Mayweather was looking at the referee for some interference, but none. So that was really bizarre to me, that you're the boxer and you're turning your back. Like, come on. That's why boxing only does so much for me. Like, I was like, please, what about the octagon? You talked about the octagon beforehand, so let's bring the next fight to the octagon and watch you turn your back.
That's all talk. That's all talk.
Oh yeah.
It would be insane. How about, what do you think of Max Kellerman's prediction now? How's that looking about now, that he wouldn't hit him? He wouldn't land a punch.
See, I really respected Max Kellerman for a long time, because he's really knowledgeable about boxing, knows tons. But he's once again, he's one of the purists who loves his boxing the way it is. You don't bring your MMA savagery into my sport. And it was just a foolish prediction. And he looks as stupid now as he did when he said it. It was just, won't land a punch. That's just ridiculous.
That's insanely ridiculous. I mean, maybe if Conor McGregor was going up against a super aggressive Tyson-like guy that was going to take it to him and be ferocious and was a one-punch knockout king, then maybe you can make that prediction. Absolutely. But that's not who Floyd Mayweather is. That's not who he ever was. That's not who he's going to be on this night.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, that was silly. I stopped listening to any boxing purists talk about it because they come off so biased, and all the MMA guys are just like, guys, he has a shot, it's fighting, let's see what happens, and trying to break it down. And I think the sport of boxing on a lot of parts just came out looking a little rough at the end of this, and it just, you need an MMA guy to break records. You need an MMA guy to come over and do things, and they do nothing but insult him. So I don't know. It was a very weird experience.
Yeah. So do you feel like this fight was a win-win for everyone? The results of it?
Yeah, I think it was. Even with the stoppage, which, take it for what it's worth, but I think it was. I think Conor looked really good. He nobody takes a loss like Conor McGregor. He just takes it so well. Says all the right things. The Fertittas were there to hang out again and talk to him. And I think the one thing Conor pointed out was it wasn't the skill that Floyd had. It was just the experience. Because he said he watched Floyd change strategies 3 times in the fight, and he said that was just really impressive to see. Like, he just had game plan after game plan after game plan because he's done it. He's done this since he was born. And just the experience factor overwhelmed him, which is understandable. And but no, I think he looks good. I think the sport of MMA looks good. And I'm glad I don't have to talk about the serial domestic violence offender Floyd Mayweather anymore after this week. I'm done.
Yeah, I can agree on that. And I think that's a large part of why people wanted Floyd to lose is because of just the guy, he's not likable. He's not likable.
No, not at all.
So you never answered my question. What would have happened if McGregor hadn't gassed?
He would have won the fight to all of us, and he would have lost the fight on the scorecard to the Vegas judges. That's what would have happened. He would have just continually done that, and boxing purists would say, these little pathetic pity-pat punches don't mean anything, and look at the way he moves, and he would have lost the fight on the scorecards, and we'd be sitting here right now raging.
How does anyone give the second or third round to Mayweather? He literally didn't even throw any punches.
I think, what was it? He threw like 12 punches through 2.5 rounds.
Yeah, well, through 2 rounds, I think. I think he threw 6.
Yeah. 6 in the first, 6 in the second. It's just, he wasn't doing anything. And I don't know how you reward somebody who's inactive and just sitting there getting punched with points. That just proves, like I said, the bias and the name. That if you can just stand there and get punched and you consider it winning a round, no.
Yeah, that's just odd to me. I want to actually see. I haven't spent any time looking at the judges' scorecards. I actually can't even imagine looking at a scorecard and seeing 10 for Mayweather in round 2 and 3, 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. So, yeah, it exposed some flaws. I don't understand that. I don't know how you can honestly and truthfully write that on the scorecard for the right person to win that round. I don't know if it's from just corruption or just ego, but something was wrong if you're going to give rounds 1, 2, or 3 to Floyd Mayweather.
I'm intrigued now. At some point, I'm going to take a look at I'm assuming that the scorecards are posted somewhere. Did you see them? Did you see the actual scorecards?
I haven't looked them up. I saw the graphic when they put it on the screen last night, but I haven't seen them today.
Oh, yeah, that was on the screen. Okay, I want to see that because that just blows my mind how anyone could put a 10 on Mayweather's name for rounds 1, 2, or 3. That's mind-boggling. I'm assuming it's for if a judge only gave him 1 round, I'm assuming he gave him round 1.
I I don't know how you could even make an argument for it not to be round one for McGregor. It just, like you said, once again, he just didn't do anything. He just stood there and got punched. Yeah. Like, did the sport of boxing change in the last 10 years? Like, do you just stand there and get punched and win fights? Otherwise, if that's the truth, if that's the case, sign me up. I'll just get punched and win fights.
Well, he was showing his defensive superiority by not being cleanly hit, and so therefore he's winning.
He was still getting punched though, not punching.
I'm joking entirely.
Like, I was like, come on, he's getting punched and not punched.
Yeah.
Like, it astounded. I was really impressed. I knew McGregor would use his range well, but I was really astounded how easily he could break Floyd's guard and get to and punch him with his jab several times and just snap his head back. But like I said, I was just impressed all around with McGregor. So those first couple rounds, I mean, like you said, if he could have kept that up, that would have been just fantastic to watch him just beat on Floyd, then Floyd win a fight for getting punched the whole time.
Well, there are some that say that Floyd was putting no effort at all into anything until late in the fight. That he was just buying time. Like, he was not trying.
I don't buy that a bit. I would never say he wasn't trying. I will say he was doing what we thought he would do, and that's staying in the Philly shell and taking minimal damage and letting McGregor gas himself out. Like, he was doing that on purpose. Like, it was all part of a bigger plan. Like, he wanted him to just hit his shoulder.
And so should the better fighter need to do that?
That's an interesting question. It's the boxer. He's the boxer. He's the best ever. Should he be doing this in a boxing ring? It's a strategy that worked for him, obviously.
I mean, it worked. Yes, he got the win. It worked. What he told us was that I'm going to be the aggressor. I'm going to go forward. I will not back up. And through 4 rounds, he was backing up the entire time. So what I'm saying is, if he went into round 1 to fight and try to win that fight beginning in round 1, what happens? What's the result?
There's always a chance you get caught. There's always a small chance you get caught, and he didn't want any part of that.
But I really felt like when McGregor was fresh, that he was a real danger.
I think so too. And even when he got tired, I think it was round 8, he landed a body shot on Mayweather that did some damage. Mayweather felt that by that. One of the few times I've ever seen Mayweather just back up from a body shot, and that was impressive. And like I said, if he could have, I think he was a threat. I think he was in those early rounds. Mayweather recognized the threat and was like, "Okay, I'm going to stand like this, and I'm going to run backwards. And I'm going to turn my back. And once he's fatigued, then I'm going to engage."
Yeah. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a very manly way to me to fight.
You're telling me turning your back? Conor McGregor got ridiculed for resetting against Nate Diaz in their second fight. But it's funny that some people that supported Nate Diaz support Floyd Mayweather turning his back in a boxing match. That makes no sense.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, do you think that Diaz fans are separate from McGregor fans?
I think there are some. I'm a Diaz fan and a McGregor fan. Just
Same
because,
here. Same here.
Yeah. So I just like the sport of MMA. But
so
I think
who did you root for when they fought?
McGregor.
Okay, see, I rooted for Diaz.
Okay, see, I'm a big McGregor fan. Like, there's not like a chance to pick over him. But I think there are some fans that are so just anti-McGregor that it's like against your favorite team. You're a fan of whoever's playing your rival. That's also your favorite team. So whoever's fighting Conor McGregor, that's your other favorite fighter.
That's a loser's mentality, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're telling me. I think so too. But I'm saying the big just haters of Conor McGregor think that way.
See, like Browns fans are, their favorite team is whoever's playing the Steelers, and then their second favorite team is the Browns.
Yep.
They get more satisfaction out of a Steeler loss than a Browns win, because they know a Steelers loss actually means something. Honestly, that's the honest truth. I'm not like exaggerating. That's the truth, and it's a loser's mentality.
And that's why I think the thing with McGregor is a loss for McGregor means more to them than a win for whoever their favorite fighter is. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why. I mean, why an MMA fan would be a McGregor hater is beyond me. The guy's doing incredible things, and granted, most of these things are benefiting him first and foremost, but the side effect of that is it's benefiting the entire sport. More people watching is more people watching. And
absolutely. You take McGregor away from the sport right now, and what do we have?
We don't have much right now, especially with Jon Jones, and who knows if GSP's ever going to be. I mean, has that fight been officially announced yet? Have you heard?
I haven't.
I'm gonna as we're chatting, I'm gonna check the UFC website and see if that's listed as the main event for the Madison Square Garden, November. What is it? November 3rd?
No, I think it's a little later, maybe the 17th.
Oh, I thought it was early in November, but I'm pulling it up now. Yeah, it's not on there. Oh no, this is a different card. This is 216.
Okay, maybe 217.
Yeah, I don't know if this is on. Yeah.
Yeah, it says it's confirmed now. It's on here.
Oh yeah, it is. You're right. Good.
Yeah,
That's
you're
good.
right. November 4th. It's early. You're right.
Yep, November 4th. So they're on there. Hey, did you watch any of the Fox prelims?
No, what was? I was afraid I'd see Paulie Malignaggi, so I just didn't watch it.
You just swore. Don't say that. Don't say
I didn't swear. Oh, don't say those
You
words.
said the PM word.
Yeah, we don't talk about that guy.
Yeah, that's forbidden on MMA Fancast.
But no, I didn't watch any.
But Paulo, he's not. He is not forbidden, Paulo.
You should be a promoter for this guy.
Dude, wait till you see him. He's awesome.
If he loses to Johnny Hendricks, it's just going to ruin your whole evening.
Oh, that would be horrible. That would be absolutely horrible. I got to get to that card, by the way, in Madison Square Garden.
That'll be a good card.
All right. So, okay, how could McGregor have won the fight? And if so, how could he have won? So, let's talk about our predictions if you want to get into that. Have we talked about this at all?
Our predictions, no.
Okay, so you predicted McGregor knockout or TKO third round.
Yes, correct.
I'm pretty sure the third round came and went, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah, and then Sahara, he picked McGregor fourth round TKO or KO.
Nope.
Pretty sure the fourth round came and went, and that didn't happen. And then I picked Mayweather ninth round TKO or KO. Ninth round came and went and almost happened.
Almost.
But happened in the 10th round.
Yep.
So from who was close and who got it, kind of made the prediction right, like where would you go with that one?
Well, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say you were right.
That's music to my ears.
You see, I got to let you get you have to be right now because when Garbrandt and Dillashaw fight, you're going to be wrong. So you have to be right now.
Well, and that's the other thing that see, you would think by this point that people would listen to me. I mean, I call fights almost exact when it's a main event. I call the fight almost exactly how it's going to happen. Now, I pick Cormier, and you know that was arguably well, not arguably, that was a extremely close fight.
Hey, we're all right now because Cormier is going to get the win due to DQ, so we were closer.
Correct. You're right. Well, Jon Jones. Jon Jones, you make me wonder to myself, like, I feel good about, like, the decisions I made in my life when even as, like, a dumb teenager and, like, early 20-something, I made some stupid decisions. But then I look at Jon Jones and I'm like, my decisions weren't that stupid.
You never ran over a pregnant lady and fled the scene.
I never wasted the most talent anyone's had ever at something and just thrown it out the window.
Yeah, I knew this black hole was coming. We're going to continually just fall down this wormhole every podcast somehow. It's just going to be like, oh, that old chestnut Jon Jones again.
Well, so here's the thing. So, I'm Christian, and that's something that's very important in my life. So Jon Jones comes on the scene, and he's supposed to be this Christian guy with, representing the sport, and that was exciting. And I'm watching this young kid, and he has so much talent. He comes in and he fights in his debut, and you see this kid that just does things a little differently, and he has this something about him that's different. And he moves differently, and he's a little bit awkward, and his striking's pretty pedestrian at the time, but he has something special. You can see he's 21 years old, and he's doing things, and you just see his career start to progress. And then he fights Stephan Bonner and really tools him at a point where Stephan Bonner is this veteran, and he's not supposed to make him look silly, and he does. And there's just so much excitement for this kid that, he's also a Christian, and that's great for the sport, for me, that kind of thing. And then he starts representing my faith in such a poor way, and it's like, no, come on, dude. I even remember like text or tweeting him privately one time, like, come on, man, like, that's not what we do. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I don't know. It's just been brutal to like watch. And I think he needs I don't know. I don't know what he needs.
Yeah, well, I thought he'd gotten everything he needed during his last suspension, but we were wrong. But while we're reminiscing about the rise, I'll never forget when Vitor Belfort had him in that arm bar, and I'm like, that's it. Vitor's going to win. And he just goes to another level mentally and just gets through it and wins. Like that. I mean, just to reiterate your it factor point, he had the intangibles of a champion, like inside the octagon, but outside the octagon, he never has displayed the discipline of a champion. And that's why we're not going to see him again for probably 4 years.
Well, not only did he have the intangibles of a champion in the ring, in the octagon, he had it on a different level. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Now, if I don't think he was pound for pound the best. I think the guys that are lightweight classes are so, like, the top is so good in those weight classes, it's unreal. Like,
it's
Demetrius Johnson is unreal. You take that fighter and you make him into 205, and that fighter destroys Jon Jones. The skill level is so high, the quickness, the transitions, he's so well rounded, all of those things. So I never thought Jon Jones was pound for pound the best, that's what I see as pound for pound the best. But when you're looking at the other way of looking at pound for pound the best, like their level over the other people at their level, he is by far at 205 at 205. He was so much better than the competition that if that's how you're defining pound for pound the best, then he's a runaway. Because no one's even close to his skill level. Now, over the last couple of years, I think Cormier's gotten close as far as like being able to hang with him. Mm-hmm. But that's a a victim of inactivity, of the wear and tear of all the stress and strain that he's put on his body with drugs and alcohol and stress of being suspended and all that stuff. Just think if he lived clean. He would already be a heavyweight, and he'd probably be heavyweight champion right now.
That's what I want to say, too. Like, his closest fight was against Gustafsson at 165, which is one of the best UFC fights ever. And through 4 rounds, it was pretty much dead even, and then he digs deep again, wins the fight. But 10 days before the fight, he went on like a big coke binge, didn't train. I forget one report, like they saw him like 3 times at the gym, like the whole fight camp, like he just didn't show up. And then on talent and will alone, he goes and fights a 5-round war and finds a way to win. So imagine if you had that same guy in the gym 6 weeks, ready to go. Fight would have gone around. So it's always Jon Jones is the greatest what if we've had in MMA. It's just how good he was, but how good could he have been?
Yeah, it's baffling to throw away something that you just think about all the regional MMA guys that are giving their blood, sweat, and tears, working full-time jobs, getting in the gym whenever they can to try to make it to a higher level and try to make it one day into the UFC. And there's all these guys that are busting their butt to get there that don't have the talent, but are that don't have the natural talent to get there just based off of, athleticism and that alone, that they're just training, doing everything they can. There's tens of thousands of those people that are gym rats that are just training to become, and then you got a guy whose God-given ability is so high that at 21 he's dominating veterans of the sport, and then he just throws it all away. It's crazy.
Yeah, at 21 he's dominating veterans, and 2 years later he's champion. And you have people like Mark Cherico who pick up MMA at 21. Like, imagine what Mark Cherico would do just to have a fraction of Jon Jones's talent. What he would do with that.
The natural talent.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The natural talent. Because Cherico has the work ethic, the grind, all of that. He has everything. But just the natural God-given talent that Jon Jones has, what he would do just to have any of that.
And that's a skill, that's a God-given talent that is in his genes. I mean, his brother's a professional athlete. Like, he has the size. I think he's the perfect size for his talent, meaning like if he was a little smaller, it would be a lot more competitive. But because he's a big guy and he's that athletic as a big guy, he's just towering over these other guys. I mean, skill-wise and, like, physically.
Yeah, now, all right, continuing with our hypotheticals, when the news broke, they were looking at, was it 218 or 219 that's in Detroit?
Let's say 18.
Okay, say 18, so that's going to be in December. And they were targeting Jon Jones versus Stipe in December. Quick turnaround. Who wins that fight if it had happened?
It is 218 and it's December 2nd.
Yeah.
I think Jon Jones beats Stipe.
Then see that one is really close for me though, because it's so close and you gotta get used to carrying all that extra weight, and You've seen the magic of Stipe in person. He's just intoxicating to watch. And
no one has moved the way Jones would. See, you're talking about Jones carrying the extra weight. Mm-hmm. Jones wouldn't have to take a weight cut. That's all there would be to it.
Yeah, but how much weight would he be giving up in this fight?
He wouldn't be. He wouldn't be giving up a lot. He walks around. I bet you he cuts from 25.
Okay, so he's 225, but
no, I think he walks at 240.
Well, see, I've seen the biggest of Jon Jones at 240. When he was powerlifting, he was 240.
I think he walks around at 240. I mean, when you're walking around, that means you're not in a training camp.
Yeah.
Well, I think when he goes to training camp and he's training hard, he's down to 225, and then he cuts from there.
See, I think that just with that turnaround, it would be tough. Like I said, give him a year, and I think he'd run through anybody. But that turnaround would make it very interesting because he's never had an opponent bigger than him before. And he can take Cormier.
You're the one that said he would destroy Lesnar.
Yeah, in a year, though. That's just 1 year out. I said he would destroy him in a year. I think he would destroy Stipe in a year. But that quick turnaround in December, I'm not saying he wouldn't win, but it's a lot different. It's a lot different than he has a year to prepare for heavyweight.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would have trouble against some of the bigger heavyweights. I think Lesnar's a tough fight for him. I think if he keeps Lesnar at distance, he could pick him apart. But if Lesnar got him against the cage, there's huge strength difference there. Strength difference there. I mean, I don't know how he overcomes that strength difference.
Yeah, I say that almost. Do you think it eliminates Jon Jones's ability to take down people at that division? Because he takes down people down at ease at heavyweight.
Well, I mean, as a heavyweight, he's different. He's preparing differently. His body's different.
Yeah.
So if he went to heavyweight, why are we even talking about this? This is
because this is all what could have been. These are the arguments we could have had for the next several years.
This is brutal.
He wasted it all for us. He ruined this.
Could have been. Have you ever? You're probably too young for this. Do you remember the song, the singer Tiffany?
Yeah, vaguely, yes.
She sang a song, Could Have Been. I'm not going to try to sing it because no one wants to hear that. Okay, so here, let's go back to McGregor. Let's finish that conversation out. What is next for McGregor? I think he wants Nurmagomedov. I think that's a bad fight for him.
I think he did want him, but I don't think the UFC is ever going to risk their golden calf against the person who's unproven at making weight. And it's unseen if people are going to sanction him to come back at 55. Have you heard all the horror stories about him cutting several different times?
Who, Nurmagomedov?
Yeah, he almost pulled from the Michael Johnson fight at 205 because he had, just barely could get there. And when on his last cut, his liver just shut down, stopped working. So I'm interested to see if he could even get sanctioned again at 55, especially in Russia. I guarantee you can, but I wonder if he can in Vegas.
Yeah, you got Conor McGregor sanctioned against Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match, 49-0 versus 0-0.
But still, they're both going to make weight. Money talks, and I think Dana White wouldn't confirm this week at press conferences if the winner of Ferguson Lee is next for McGregor. I think just kind of with timing.
I think that's too far out. McGregor's going to want to fight before that. When do they fight?
Is it 2/16 in October?
I bet you McGregor's going to want to fight on the closest card to New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. 2/18 or 19.
2/19, yeah, that's Vegas. 2/19, December 30th.
Nate Diaz trilogy.
I still think UFC should have a New Year's Eve card every year.
It'd be great. I'd love it.
Why not? Who wouldn't want to spend New Year's Eve as an MMA fan? Make that everyone's New Year's Eve tradition. Who cares about Dick Clark? He's not even on there anymore. Who cares about the guy that American Idol guy, whatever his name is?
Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah. Well, I would rather watch the biggest MMA card of the year close out. Why not make New Year's Eve every year, Madison Square Garden? Forget November, starting next year. Make Madison Square Garden, New Year's Eve, the biggest card of every year.
I'd love it. Maybe a great promotional idea. I think it's a great idea. What do you think Conor's going to do next? Who do you think he's going to fight?
I know. Even his manager said he wants Nurmagomedov. Do I think that's... honestly, I think that's a dumb fight for him. I think you take a look at the 155-pound division, and that's the... You look at who's the most likely loss, who's the most dangerous to lose to, I think it's clearly Nurmagomedov. And I don't think that that's the pretty fight. I don't think that's the attractive fight. Honestly, I think Diaz trilogy is the only thing,
Yeah.
the only way to go.
So I think the same thing, and I'm not sold on Nurmagomedov making weight. I just don't. I'm not sold in the UFC banking that.
I'm not either. But how many times has he missed weight? Just once? Or no?
I thought he missed one. He missed once. He's missed before.
Okay, I'll look it up. You keep talking.
Okay, because just the fact that his liver shut down, like, I love that. The one thing I do like that Tony Ferguson does, he calls them Team Tiramisu. Just can't keep the weight off. But yeah, I don't think you do that fight. I agree with you. He's gonna want to fight before he gets the winner of Kevin Lee and Ferguson, and I think it's Nate Diaz at 155. But now the question becomes, I guess you have an interim title fight, and then you have another title fight at a different time, and then it could possibly be Nate Diaz, lightweight champion, fighting Kevin Lee. So
yeah, I don't know how many times he's missed weight. I gotta be honest here. I'm trying to find it.
I know it's more than once.
Let's see. He fought at a catch weight at his last fight prior to Michael Johnson was Darrell Horcher. How do you say his last name? Horcher?
Darrell Horcher, yeah.
Yeah. So he fought at a catch weight 160 pounds. It doesn't say that he missed weight. Against at UFC 160 against Abel. Do you know Abel Trujillo?
Yeah.
He missed weight there. They fought at a catch weight of 158.5 pounds. It says he missed weight. Then he tested positive for drostanolone. I'm not going to pretend like I know how to pronounce drug names. When he fought Thiago Tavares.
That's enough. You cannot risk Conor McGregor fighting that guy and him not making it to the fight. And we all know McGregor will fight anybody whenever they pull out. He's had a history of opponents doing that. But I don't think UFC wants to risk all the promotion and then go through that again.
So he's fought 8 UFC fights, won them all, but 3 of the 8 have had a major issue.
Exactly. Almost half of them. So that's a great thing about Nate Diaz.
And this doesn't show the actually he went to fight a 9th fight and had to duck out because of the weight cutting issues. So there's 9 fights, 4 major issues.
Yeah, his liver shut down.
Correct.
He was like dying.
And this doesn't count any fights he's pulled out of, because I think he's pulled out of fights as well.
He's pulled from 2 Ferguson fights because he pulled from the Ferguson fight last summer, and that's when Lando Venata stepped in. I don't know if that was due to injury or not, though.
Yeah.
So another case.
So and yeah. Anyway, I don't think that that's something the UFC wants. I don't think that Nurmagomedov should get a title shot without fighting again. I think he should have to make 155 and win against a top contender, and not have any weight cut issues, and then you get a title shot if you win that.
I agree. I'd like to see him get the loser of the Kevin Lee, Tony Ferguson fight, or get an Edson Barboza when he's healthy.
Yeah. So that's settled. He does not get a title shot. What's next for McGregor, I believe, is the Diaz trilogy fight, which is really the only thing that makes sense for him at this point, from a financial and from a with Ferguson. When does Ferguson fight? I'm sorry.
216 against Kevin Lee.
Yeah, he took a fight against Kevin Lee, which doesn't make sense to me, but it is what it is. Kevin Lee's too dangerous. Too dangerous and not ranked good enough and not a big enough name.
Yeah, he's like the worst person you want to fight right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. That's like the one guy I won't fight. He's really good. No one knows him, and I'm not going to make a ton of money.
Yeah, he's a 24-year-old prospect, and he's just like, what he did to Michael Chiesa was just incredible. And like, people don't want this guy. Like, keep him. Let's hide him away. Go fight somebody else. Go fight Brian. Who else is in that division he could fight that he could just blow through besides Khabib? I mean, he's already beaten Edson Barboza. That was a good fight. Who else is in that division?
Yeah.
Because Kevin Lee is just after watching his last performance, Kevin Lee is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And let me find this.
Well, I got the fighter rankings up here right now for lightweight. So we got Conor, Khabib, Tony Ferguson, Eddie Alvarez, Barboza, Justin Gaethje, Nate Diaz, Kevin Lee, Poirier, Michael Johnson, and then it starts trailing off. I mean, you even got that's such a crazy division. The guys that trail off are like Al Iaquinta, who only trails off because he doesn't fight.
Yeah, that division is insane. And the fact that I don't know how Eddie Alvarez is ranked. He's only ranked that high because he's coaching tough. Dustin Poirier, I think that's a whole other mess. I think Dustin Poirier should be higher if Eddie Alvarez is that high. They were a lot closer.
Justin Gaethje, you got Nate. I mean, Gilbert Melendez is 15th.
Yeah, how much would you love Gaethje Diaz?
Yeah,
just teeing off on each other. Just
who?
Justin Gaethje versus Nate Diaz.
Oh, that would be insane.
Zombie versus zombie, just brawling.
It would be like watching Rock'em Sock'em Robots, just ignoring the fact that they're unconscious.
It would be so much fun. That was my first time ever watching Gaethje when he fought Michael Johnson. I'm like, this guy is the boogeyman. Like, he's the best. He just keeps coming at you.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey, go ahead.
So what a great division, like you said though. Like Melendez is 15th. This division's awesome.
Yeah, so I guess they weren't able to work out a fight for Francis Ngannou with JDS failing his drug test for UFC 215. I don't see a replacement fight there.
They scratched him officially.
That's brutal.
Yeah, Ngannou called out Stipe.
So wait, if you're Ngannou, taking a look at the heavyweight division, who would have been a good replacement for her?
I have to pull it up. I can't think of anyone that doesn't already have a fight, unless you're going to bring in Reem off short notice. But that's stupid of him to do. Like,
well, I mean, you can take this is a big enough fight that someone can scratch their scheduled fight.
Yeah, I mean,
one that's a little further out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Taking a look at, I don't know. Junior Dos Santos isn't listed on the heavyweights anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I think because he failed that test, he's going to be under suspension. He's not listed.
Oh, goodbye, Junior. Get well soon.
Because basically, he's like, I think he must have been fourth, and Ngannou was fifth because everyone has moved up a spot after that point.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah. How long's his suspension going to be? A year?
I think so. I haven't seen any.
That's his first?
I believe so. I don't remember any other time of him failing or testing positive.
He was a guy that, you thought could be the next heavyweight when he originally won the belt, could be the next long-time reigning champion, baddest man on the planet, but that didn't last very long.
Well, I mean, nobody's been able to be. Stipe is on the verge of breaking the title defense record for heavyweight. He's got 2. That's the record.
Yeah. Well, I thought 3 was, no?
No, 2.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 2's the record. No one's gone longer due to injury or just being beaten or anything else. Yeah, man, that's how insane the heavyweight division's been.
Yeah, wow. I thought it was at least 3, but anyway, so this weekend we have UFC Fight Night 115, which is Volkov versus Struve. And this is in the Netherlands. What are your thoughts on that main event with the heavyweights?
I'm a little more excited than I thought I was after looking into it. Volkov has won 4 in a row. This is, he's won 3 in a row. His 3rd UFC fight. One of those. I have my numbers mixed up. I can't write. But he ends 75% of his fights in a finish. Stefan Struve has won 2 in a row now, getting back to his winning ways, I guess. And I think it won't look as awkward because Volkov is 6'7", and because Struve is obviously 7 feet tall. And
is Struve 7 feet?
Yeah, 7 foot even.
Oh wow! He's the shortest 7-footer ever. Like he doesn't use his
no,
size.
Not at all. Yeah, he's 7 feet tall, and he weighs 265 right at the limit. But he has to be super lean because he's 7 feet tall, and. Just looking I think Volkov is going to knock him out.
Really? Knock him out? I like seeing Struve get knocked out. I shouldn't say that, but I apologize. I honestly shouldn't say that, but the truth's the truth.
How weird is it that Struve knocked out Stipe?
Yeah, that's the craziest thing. I just think that's a complete...
That's so weird.
Like, that's like reverse reality world.
Yeah, that's like... Have you watched Stranger Things?
What's that?
Do you watch Stranger Things?
No, I'm looking at some strange things right now.
Well, if you do, that's what happened in the Upside Down. That's the alternate universe. Struve knocks out Stipe. That's not supposed to happen here.
Yeah, it's just complete madness. Okay, so I watched do you remember Volkov versus Roy Nelson?
Yeah, he beat him.
And he had him in really bad shape at the end of the first round. He was kind of pouring it on, but that's the thing that worries me about a guy like him. He when he faces top level talent, he either gets, it's normally a decision. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't finish it. Or, it's a decision loss or decision win. And that's like not being able to have that killer instinct and finish fights. That's concerning to me. I don't know if that's going to, I think he has enough power to hurt Struve, and I think he will. And I think he'll win the fight. But I don't see him climbing much higher than his current ranking in the UFC heavyweight division.
I agree, and his heavyweights, like those top ones, like you said, have been decisions, but still 75% of his fights have been finished. He's either by knockout or submission, mostly knockout.
Well, but look at his record and see who he finished that you know the person. And
yeah.
Anyone that you know on the list is a decision. Chet Congo decision, Tony Johnson decision. Those are both decision losses. Mm-hmm. Timothy Johnson's a decision. Roy Nelson's a decision. Anyone on his list, Brett Rogers is a decision. Rico Rodriguez is a decision. Anyone that you've heard the name before, it's a decision, either a win or a loss. So that tells me that when he gets up to that elite level, which, some of those guys aren't elite level. They're just guys that have made it to, the UFC top 10 or something like that. And he's having trouble finishing those fights. I think that catches up with you, and it shows. It just shows that you're not at that elite level.
Yeah, I think it's I think he's bouncing back because after his Chet Congo loss, he was done. I don't know if I think he was released from Bellator because then he went down to the M1 challenge. And then he came back to the UFC recently. But, once again, decision. He did get the wins, but still, I see your point. But fight math is never accurate by any stretch of the imagination.
Fight math might not be accurate when you're talking about common opponents, but when you trend to not be able to finish top guys or be dependent on judges on decisions. That's not a recipe for. And I mean, there are exceptions to that rule. GSP being one of them, and complete dominating fighters being those. He's not that, and so he has power and he has finishing capabilities, and I haven't seen that in him when it gets to those elite level guys.
Yeah, but I'm saying with the fight math that he beat Roy Nelson and had him in all kinds of trouble, and Roy Nelson pulverized Stefan Struve, just ran through Struve. And I said, it's never completely accurate, but I really think this is the fight where I think he could finish Struve. So
yeah, I think he's going to finish Struve. I predict him in the second round TKO. But I also think he's whatever ranking he gets after this fight is where he will peak. He's not going to climb up the ladder any further. I don't think he has the talent to go any higher.
Yeah, he's just going to, the division is so top heavy, and there's rarely any dramatic movement in that division, and he's going to run into a murderer's row once he gets through Struve.
Yeah, once he gets through this one, it's all guys that I think are head and shoulders on the talent level, on different level than him.
Yep.
Although has he ever been knocked out? Yes. Well, TKO at Bellator 108 in 2013. But he's on a good run. He has the 2 back-to-back Bellator losses, but outside of those, he's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's 9-2 with those in his last 11. So, the guy's got a lot of talent. I think when you're not able to finish fights, you go up against those elite level heavyweights, and they are going to finish the fight. If you're not going to, they will.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about him is that his nickname is Drago, and I just hope he quotes Rocky IV all the time. He should do it in every press conference.
I will break you.
Exactly. That's the best thing going for him.
That's not a best thing going for him, really?
Well, it's probably going to be once he beats Struve and runs to a buzzsaw like Cain Velasquez or somebody.
Yeah. Oh, no wonder. I'm sitting here. Duh. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I was looking at to see how long we were at right now, and I couldn't find the thing, but never mind. Okay, so Jermaine Durandamy is also fighting on that card. Is there any excitement there for you?
No.
Okay, neither here. It's a card that there's a lot of foreign fighters being in the Netherlands, and there's not a lot of guys that are household names, but there are some intriguing matchups. So definitely a card worth watching, even for the casual fan. Would you agree?
Yes, there is some potential in there, and this is one of those cool cards where you can probably find a young prospect like a Paolo. You find him young, and then you're like, oh, this person could be something in a year or two. So, besides, like I said, there's no name-drawing power at all, but there's, for the hardcore fan, there's going to be some interesting matchups.
And then the following weekend, so that's on this upcoming Saturday, the September 2nd. The following weekend, we have UFC 215. That's September 9th in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, at Rogers Place. Who's Roger, by the way? Why does he get his own place?
I don't know. Canadians, man.
Eh? So this is a huge fight card. I feel like this is a really good card. Even losing Ngannou. Yeah, even losing JDS Ngannou, it's still a very good card. So you have 2 championship matches. You have Demetrius Johnson and Ray Borg, number 1 versus number 3. You have Amanda Nunes, number 1, the champion, versus Valentino Shevchenko, who is the number 1 contender. You lost the JDS Ngannou. That was filled in with Latifi and Pedro will be in that spot. moved up from the undercard to the main card. Rafael dos Anjos versus Neil Magny. And actually, Rafael dos Anjos is the only guy on the main card who's not ranked in the top 15 in his division. Did you know that? And he's a former champion. Mm-hmm. So you got Latifi and Pedro, then you got Gilbert Melendez and Stevens, little heathen Stevens, number 15 versus number 8. And to me, I don't know why Jeremy Stevens takes that fight.
I don't know why Jeremy Stevens is ranked number 8. He's 2-5 in his last 7.
Well, is he really?
Yeah.
Little heathen. He's been around forever.
Yeah, it's funny though. I went back 7 fights for he and Melendez. Melendez is 3-4 in his last 7, lost 3 in a row. But 7 fights back from Melendez is Jorge Masvidal, December 2011. And 7 fights back for Stevens is Cub Swanson in June 2014. So that just shows the activity and inactivity of each fighter.
Yeah, and that's not... See, can you believe that Jeremy Stevens is only 31?
Yeah.
He has been around forever.
Yeah.
He fought at UFC 71.
Who did he fight there?
He fought Din Thomas.
Wow.
Like, it's unbelievable that he's only 31 years old.
Yeah, and the thing he's going to be known most for in his career is just the object of ridicule of Conor McGregor.
Yeah, wow. Wow. He is.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. That's a lot of getting beat up.
Yeah, 2-5 in the last 7. He's still ranked 8th. And who do you like in that fight? I think that fight's going to be really good.
Yeah, that's a good matchup. Two guys with a ton of talent in a tough division, but 2 guys who are veterans, who know the sport, who've been at the top and fought the top guys for a long time. I mean, taking a look at who they've beaten, who they've lost to, they're all, household, names they're all great fighters. Mm-hmm. And so they've been at the top of the game for a long time, and not always winning, but always competitive, and mostly competitive, and just really solid guys. I gotta think Melendez would be my pick.
Is this his first fight at 145?
I don't know. Let me look at him.
Okay, I think it is, because like I said, 7 fights ago he was fighting Masvidal, and I don't know if that was at 55 or 70. So I don't know how this cut's going to be on him. I think it'll be fine with him. The grizzled veteran, he's had plenty of time off.
Yeah, he's ever since he came to the UFC, it's been brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, he fought his UFC debut was against Benson Henderson. He lost that via split decision, which was a very close fight. Mm-hmm. And that was for the lightweight championship.
Yeah.
And then he beat Diego Sanchez at UFC 166. And then he's lost 3 straight. Anthony Pettis got choked out. Eddie Alvarez another split decision loss. Gilbert Melendez can't win a split decision. Well, actually, he did. He won a split decision against Josh Thompson. But then Edson Barboza he lost to in about a year ago. So, and he hasn't fought since. He's a part of that Diaz camp, Stockton boys, and they're not very active fighting.
No, but they always perform well, and they're always really tough. Like that Eddie Alvarez fight, I thought he won that fight. I thought he did enough to win, and Alvarez, got the decision, so it is what it is. But Melendez, I still think, has something, especially if he can go down to that weight class, because I don't see too many people that are going to give him problems until he gets to the top of 45. And he only has 6 losses in his career. But like you said, the UFC's been brutal, with 4 of those coming in the last 7.
Yeah,
so,
and he has fought a murderer's row of great fighters. I mean,
yeah, and
I mean, you look at Anthony Pettis. That was when Anthony Pettis was at his peak.
Peak Showtime.
Yeah, and Diego Sanchez. That was a war. That fight was a war.
One of the best I've ever seen. That fight was definition war.
That was also when Benson Henderson was at his peak. Both of those, the Henderson and the Pettis fight, were for the lightweight belt.
Yeah.
And then Eddie Alvarez, obviously, he was the lightweight champion until, for a couple of fights until 205, and then Barboza is a beast. So, I mean, he hasn't been losing to chumps, and outside of the guillotine choke, they've all been decisions or. So he's still a great fighter, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think he still has something left, and the fact that even though he's lost those fights, he's competitive in all of them. Like, he's not just getting destroyed and embarrassed. Even in that Barboza fight, Barboza did the thing where he just, kicks you to pieces, but it didn't matter for Melendez. I think he might have won the third round of that fight because he caught him late, and Barboza was in some trouble, but, I mean, he'd done enough to win. But, yeah, I think Melendez gives it to the little heathen a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, who was the fight that? No, I'm thinking of someone else. What Little Heathen, was he in a war recently? No.
No.
All right. So that fight card is sweet. Even on the undercard, you got Sarah McMahon, who's number 6 in the division, against Ketlin Vieira. You got a number 2 versus number 4 at the 125. You got Henry Cejudo. Is that how you say his name?
Cejudo.
You see, you got like a memory bank, like unbelievable. Versus Wilson Reese.
Hayes.
Yeah,
Hayes. It's Portuguese.
That's what I said. Hayes.
Oh, I thought you said Reese.
Well, that's how it's spelled. So that's what I said.
Okay. That makes sense.
Exactly. So, a really good fight card there. 215's a must-see. Would you agree with that?
I do, and I want to touch on a couple things. Pedro Latifi. Pedro is in his 3rd UFC fight. It'll only be his 7th total. But since joining the UFC, he's never been outside the first round. He's 25. He's never been taken down in those 2 fights. He's got really good boxing, really good jiu-jitsu, and I think it's going to be his coming out party. He's going to roll through Latifi.
Really?
Yeah, listen to this. So I picked out Latifi's 4 best opponents. He fought Ryan Bader in 2016, got knocked out in the 2nd round. He got a win over, how do you pronounce it, Guillaume Vaillant?
Jean
Vaillant.
Yeah. See, when you're saying people's names, I know how to say them, and when I'm saying people's names, you know how to say them. We make a good team.
I say Octagon 247, baby. We're a great team. And so he got a win over Vaillant, unanimous decision. And then 2014, Jan Blachowicz, okay. 2014, he got knocked out in the 1st round.
Yeah, go ahead.
Blachowicz only landed 2 strikes in the whole fight and knocked him out.
So so here's the thing. You're looking at numbers and words. I like to watch the fights over again. I haven't done it for 215 yet. I did do it for Stefan Struve, not Struve, but for Volkov, and watched him systematically pick apart a big country. But I'll take a look at Latifi, and I'm going to take a look at your boy Pedro, and I'm going to we'll make predictions a week from now, and hopefully we'll have Cherico on with us.
Oh, I got one more for you. 2013.
Okay, go ahead, shoot.
2013, he fought Gegard Mousasi. He lost a unanimous decision he was outstruck 80-18 in that fight. And that is just disparaging. And the fact that he got knocked out in 2 strikes by Jon in 2014, anytime he fights higher ranked people, he tends to fall. And Pedro's getting a big push. I mean, you had 4 fights and then you got put in the UFC. And so I think it's going to be a big showcase for him.
So you think they're setting Pedro up to showcase him?
Exactly. I think that's why that fight got bumped up.
Well, that's the perfect. I mean, that was music to his ears then, huh?
Absolutely. And what do you think about RDA Neil Magny?
I think Neil Magny is a beast, and I think RDA's game planning is not always the best, and so I think RDA needs to get Magny on his back, and I don't think that'll necessarily be his game plan. It baffles me sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah, Magny has that 10-inch reach advantage. And in RDA's first fight at welterweight, this will be his second. And his first one against, was it Tarek Seferdine?
Yep.
He won that decision, but he looked terrible controlling that weight. Like, he just did not look good. Like, he didn't look as explosive. And, yeah, I like Neil Magny a lot. And I think, like you said, RDA's game plan is always sometimes just a little weird. You don't understand why he's doing this.
Yeah.
So I think Magny's gonna have his way and control range really well.
And that's what I don't even know. See, that's the weird thing is I don't know if RDA will come in with the game plan of got to take the fight to the ground or maybe we'll just I don't know. It's odd to me. It seems very, very clear with, a guy whose strength is standing.
Yeah.
But he doesn't always make sense, and more often than not, doesn't make sense with his. Yeah. But now fighting is this is at welterweight, right?
Correct.
Fighting as a welterweight, I don't think is going to be. I mean, he had his welterweight debut, but that was against Safadine, and I think they set him up to have a winnable fight, and he did win. He got the unanimous decision, but I think this is where, when he steps up to the competition.
Yeah.
It wasn't going well for him with 2 losses in a row at lightweight, and these are the level of fighters he's now getting into from the lightweight division. Now he's at that level with the welterweight division. I just don't see that ending very well.
Yeah, he's getting towards the end of his rope with how far he's just getting a little bit out of his depth here. And
well, here's the thing: he's never going to be champion again. No. That's not happening. He had his run. He defended his belt against Cerrone. He was a legitimate champion for a short term, and he made his mark. And now he has to start having different goals. I think your new goals are like to stay in that 6 to 10 ranking range. But if your goal is to be number 1 or in the top 5, yes, maybe he can work his way in to have that turned into a goal. But right now, his goal needs to be finding a spot in the welterweight division where he can compete, and I don't think it's against Neil Magny.
Can we make shirts that say RDA strive for mediocrity and just wear them everywhere?
I don't know. I don't agree. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just knowing where you're at in your career, and and I mean, honestly, do you see him in any division being champion again?
Unless they make a 163-pound division, no.
And he's the only fighter?
See, I think he can flourish in the middle there. I think he's just like obscure. Like 55 is too hard of a cut, and 70 he's just too small. And I think right in the middle. But they don't have that division, and he's not going to be champion again. Sorry.
Yeah. I just don't. But, I mean, and that's where I think you have to realize, okay, I'm not going to be champion, but I can.
Yep.
I have to figure out where I'm, like, what are my goals now?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Do you tell a guy, like, you're not going to be champion? No, but at the same time, like, if you're his team, you can kind of set him up to, like, get used to, hey, they're going to be throwing this new challenger at you. You have a chance to fight a guy that's a high-level guy that's not a lot of experience. I don't know. Would you challenge him with that? What?
And I don't know, but then you get the Michael Bisping case. Like, I never thought I would see a Michael Bisping title run in my life.
Well, you haven't. You've seen him win the title. You haven't seen a run.
He defended it.
No. He did not. He did not. He beat a guy. Well, he almost lost. He beat a guy that the only reason he was fighting was he got gifted a title shot.
Yeah, he took it on short notice.
The only reason he was. No, I'm talking about Dan Henderson.
Oh, Henderson. Yeah.
The only reason he was not retired is because he got a gift title shot. I mean, let's be honest. When Henderson was somewhere near his prime, which I don't even think he was in his prime then, but when he was somewhere near his prime, he was just destroying Michael Bisping's face.
Yeah, that's why Michael Bisping's made of half machine now. That's why he's champion. He's just half metal. Like, I don't know how much of him is real anymore.
Yeah. Well. All right. That is all I have. You got anything else, brother?
That's it for this week. Save predictions for next week.
So, as always, we want to remind you it is of critical importance that you go onto our podcast, whatever medium you're listening to. Most of you are probably listening on iTunes from the way it looks. Go onto the podcast app and rate, review, and subscribe us. We have content additionally on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, so check those out. We also have a YouTube page, which a lot of it is just our podcast, but also when we cover events live, we have a lot of content that goes up around that time. So we will be covering the Pittsburgh card in September live as well. So there will be additional YouTube content then. So please rate, review, and subscribe this podcast, as well as liking and subscribing and following our social media offerings. So that's about it for Andrew Bailey. Are you done?
I'm done.
You got any parting shots? Do you have anything to say to Floyd Mayweather or anything to say to Conor McGregor?
Anything to say to Floyd Mayweather? You should not be able to fight again until you stop fighting your wife.
Oh. Anything?
Shot.
I wonder if his wife's ever beat him up.
I could only hope so. 50 Cent hit him once, and I was so happy about that. Parting shots for Conor. Great job. Come back to the good side.
Do you think Conor gets UFC ownership stake?
Dana White confirmed. He said he's going to. So, I mean,
he didn't say he's going to. He said that's obviously going to have to be something we consider.
Yeah, there's a strong insinuation, and I think you do give it to him. Like, he's the only consistent engine in the machine now.
Yeah. Well, he certainly deserves it if he gets it. I'm getting feedback right now, so that's a good sign to sign off. So this is Ryan Middleton on behalf of the entire crew and cast at Octagon247.com and MMA Fancast. We thank you for listening. Ask you to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast and our social media offerings. With that being said, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. Hopefully we will have a guest appearance, and we'll have Mark Cherico with us, and look forward to that. So, on behalf of Octagon 24/7 and MMA Fancast, this is Ryan Middleton signing off, saying thank you. God bless.